Who is the man? I mean, close your eyes and think about manly men. Who is it you see in your head and yell, hell yeah, that's a fucking man? Depending on the decade you were born, there's a variety of imagery that may be going through your head. Lee Marvin, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, Sly Stallone, The Rock, Vin Diesel, James Dean, the Fonz. Maybe you're seeing a character more than the actor themselves, right? Maybe Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders, or John Wayne from any number of movies, or maybe James Bond man. You're a James Bond man, or in this era, John Wick or Jason Bourne, right? Men's men. How about King Leonidas from 300? Like, that was that kind of manly men, right? You get the point. We all have that picture in our head. The first time I walked into a Sportsman's Warehouse store, I don't know if they have those where you live, they have them where I live. They had a picture of John Wayne, the Duke, matted in leather in a hardwood frame right there in every doorway. I thought, hell yeah, this has got to be a good store. The problem is, well, all of these people had awesome traits we admired about them for whatever reason. Their real life doesn't always match up because most of them are actors, right? TV, movies, whatever. And especially now. So what is required to be a man in this modern world that we live in? Well, today we're going to talk about that on this show, and I'm going to hook you up with 10 things that you need to develop in your life to be a man in this modern world. Let's get into it. Here's the $1 million question. How do men like us reach our full potential, grow into the men we dream of being, while taking care of our responsibilities, working, being good husbands, fathers, and still take care of ourselves? Well, that's the big question. In this podcast, we'll help you answer those questions and more. My name is Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast. Now, being a Gen Xer, I could take all kinds of pot shots at the following generations. But the truth is, the generation before me had complaints about us and how bad we sucked, I'm sure. And the generations before them definitely whined about them too. So a more accurate thought, there were some advantages to growing up when I did. I think that we had a lot of really cool things growing up as Gen Xers. I think some of the younger generations now missed out on a lot because there were definitely advantages that I had. And I can see it just raising my own kids, the difference in the world they're raising up in, that they're living in now. There are young people who have outpaced me, however, in so many areas already because of those differences. So I'm glad for them. I'm glad there are differences between the generations. And I wish I had been taught things like entrepreneurship at a much younger age. And that's something that younger generations are getting exposed to much early on, thanks to the internet. Yes, I am old enough that we didn't always have readily available internet for everybody. One question that's always existed, however, in every generation of men, that the answer has continued to evolve is, where is my place in this world as a man, and what does that look like as modern men? By the way, my name's Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for all things man. Big shout out to Fallible Nation. That's what I call our longtime listeners. And hey, we'd love to have you join that. And welcome to our first time listeners. Thanks for checking us out. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I know there's a lot competing for your time, so I hope you really enjoy the show. Be sure and connect with me at the Fallible Man on most social media platforms. While Instagram is where I am the most active, I will be sure and respond. And just let me know what you thought of the show. And if you get something out of it, hey, you can leave us a review. That'd be nice, but share it with somebody who needs it. That's even better, right? Our goal is to reach out and touch as many lives as possible. And you sharing this with a friend is the biggest compliment you ever give us. Now, my grandfather fought in World War II. What a man was then was very different than who my father was as a man. The man I've learned to become is not exactly the same as my father or my grandfather. And the little boys that are growing up now into our future, well, the way they look at being a man is going to be a little bit different. Now, there are some traits and roles that will always stay the same. Many will change with our rapidly changing environment and reality, because that's just the world, right? It's utterly nuts these days how quick things are changing. However, today I want to share 10 things that are required to be men in this modern era and going forward. Some will be added over time as the era continues on and the future comes into view. Some might fall away, but for today and in the current generation, hopefully in the next few, these 10 things are absolutely critical to be a man. Number one, you need to have a North Star metric. Now, in business, this is the motivation that drives you and will continue to align all your decisions and actions to stay on point with your business. Most commonly in business, it's one of three things: it's income driven, it's time driven, or it's impact driven. As a man, you're going to have to decide what your North Star metric is. It will be about having more freedom of time, more resources, or a bigger impact, most likely because it usually mirrors the whole business thing as well, but not necessarily. You can say, well, Brent, money buys all that. No, it really doesn't. It comes close. It definitely comes close. I'm not going to argue that. But there will be a moment where you have to decide to trade one for the other, specifically a moment where you have to trade freedom, impact, or money for one of the other ones, right? It will be a hard choice, but you're really going to find out what shines for you because you will have to make that decision sooner or later. More money, more time, or more freedom, however you want to say that. Number two, you need to plant a flag. What hill are you willing to die on? I mean, hopefully in a figurative manner, but maybe not. A man needs to work out where he stands on things in his life that he sees as beyond important, as well as what's really not. I was asked on a podcast one time how I became so apathetic about a lot of things. There's my 50-cent word for the episode. The truth is, I stopped caring about things that have no impact or meaning on the things that I find out are important to me. I truthfully couldn't care one way or another about a lot of things. I have too much of my life that's important to me to waste emotional energy on things that I just don't care about. Now, some people see it as a plus or minus, but really, like, you can ask me about things, and 9 times out of 10, the answer is don't care. A man needs to have an opinion, but on things that matter. That opinion may be don't care. Unfortunately, people around me probably hear that a little more than they want to, but he needs to know what's important to him, what's worth fighting for, and what's worth dying for. It will really give you a solid foundation for the rest of your life. There is nothing wrong with deciding I care about this and the rest of it. Well, it's really inconsequential. I'm not saying that there aren't other things outside of what I care about. I'm saying I just don't spend the emotional energy on things that aren't of value to me. So I don't really get worked up over what restaurant I go to or things like that because really, I don't care. I'm going to eat, man. I'll eat something. I'll find something I like at this restaurant or that. So figure out what's important to you, what hill you're willing to die on. Plant that flag as a man because that's part of being a man. You have to have an opinion on what's important, what has value, and what's not. Number 3, your physical health. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. Like it or not, a man's whole world is tied up in his physical health. The world has no respect for an unhealthy man. Women can lie all they want about the dad bod BS. Part of that social pressure, some part of that's generational. Part of that's women who don't want to have to take care of themselves as well. But women have no respect for an unhealthy man, no matter what they say. Society has no respect for an unhealthy man. You're judged by your health in every interaction. Don't argue with me based on fairness, because that's a bunch of crap. Nobody cares. Fairness doesn't exist. Whether you are trying to get a date, interview for a new job, or just walking into the store, you're being sized up based on your external health markers. Plus, most things we're valued for as men are largely based on our health. If you don't believe me, roll that thought around in your head for a little while and really, really start to think about it. And I promise you, when you start to analyze your life, There are a lot of times in your life, most of the times, that you are going to be gauged on your health. I actually just talked to an image consultant on the podcast. That will be later this year. I'll share that episode with you guys. But it's one of the things we both agreed on. She tends to focus on outer things like the clothes you wear and the way you take care of your hygiene and stuff like that. But she agreed your physical health absolutely impacts every interaction and the way people judge you. It may not be fair, but no one cares. That's just how it is. So, as a man, you need to take care of your physical health because it will largely impact every other part of your life. Number 4, men, to be men, need to have a purpose. We'll see if I can get the banner up for the YouTube people. This may be a lifelong purpose, but it doesn't have to be, but it can be. Are you confused yet? You have to have a purpose, and more importantly, you have to align with your purpose. Otherwise, you're going to feel like there's a hole no matter what. Men frequently mistake that hole as needing a female or needing materials or something like that. Men are largely mission oriented, and having a mission is not finding your purpose, and it will not fill that hole. You're going to have lots of missions in your life. Happiness is not alignment with your purpose. You can be happy and not be living your purpose. You just won't feel whole. I'm trying to emphasize that. I hope I'm getting this clear. Feeling whole and complete is not the same thing as being in line with your purpose. Let me rephrase it. Sorry. Feeling whole and complete is something that comes from living in alignment with your purpose. It is not something that is necessarily based on your happiness. We do a lot of things for short bursts of happiness, right? Some people drink, some people party, some people go spend lots of money on themselves. That makes you happy in the moment. It doesn't make you complete. Living in alignment with your purpose makes you feel complete. So find your purpose, seek it with conviction and enthusiasm. You're going to have many varying missions throughout your life, and not all of them will be in alignment with your purpose. But once you find your purpose, you can align your missions with your purpose. As a bonus, finding your purpose will attract the right kind of women into your life if that's something that you still haven't lined up yet. Women are attracted to men with a purpose, men who know what their purpose are. Unpopular opinion. The world is out there. As a young man, I think you should focus on your purpose and finding and aligning with your purpose over women. The right kind of women will be attracted to you because A, you have a purpose, and it's a purpose that she sees and believes in and can align herself with. And the right kind of woman will be attracted to and will want to align with said purpose. And then you have a force multiplier in a really powerful way in a woman who is aligned with your purpose and your goals and your mission. Find your purpose. It's absolutely necessary as a man. Number 5, and it looks like I lost light if you guys are watching this on YouTube, so you don't have to look at me as much. So that may be a bonus for you. Number 5, a man, to be a man, needs to find his tribe. I was the guiltiest of all when it comes to buying the whole lone wolf scenario. I didn't spend much time with groups of men until the last couple years. But since the earliest days of mankind, we have come together in communities. While many men have a solitary nature to themselves, they still need a tribe. A tribe is where you come to exchange ideas, to learn from elder men who have more experience, to level up who you are. It takes a tribe. A tribe is a group of trusted men who are in fellowship with each other for common goals and interests. It can take many different forms, and there's not an ultimately right form as long as it has certain pieces to it. This may be a faith-based men's group, or maybe a group of friends you go to the range with and drink coffee and shoot guns while you talk. It might be a group of guys you play games with. Whatever it is, you found the right tribe when you can exchange value with them. You bring some areas and ideas into it that improve the other guys in your circle. They also bring in some different ideas in different areas and value that ups you in the circle. Together, you inspire and encourage each other, and you come away a little better every time. That is a tribe. Don't mistake a tribe with a bunch of guys that you're just wasting time with, because that's far more common. If your tribe isn't helping you level up and you're not helping them level up, you're not in a tribe. You're in a group of guys who just didn't outgrow it or haven't grown into it, one or the other. So, look, you don't have to solve world hunger together, but at the very least, they should help you want to be and help you become a better person and vice versa. So, tribe, guys, it's absolutely crucial to be a man. Number 6 is growth mindset. Now, growth mindsets are really important, and you probably hear that buzzword all the time on the internet, right? It's a really popular term these days. And still, very few people actually understand the value of a growth mindset, no matter how much is talked about on social media. So, gone are the days when men were just allowed to live the simple existence of going to work, coming home, minimal interaction with family, chill, and just trust your children know they're loved. There were some generations where this was very common. It's not there. It's not now, and it's not how you're a man in this day and age. It's not enough to have reached the milestone of what you call the American dream, right? We all know the American dream: house, car, 2.5 kids. I still have never figured out how they came up with 2.5 kids. That sounds really complicated. It's not enough to have reached the milestones that we were told are that's it. Kids expect parents to be more involved than ever. Your spouse demands your time and emotional energy. They also expect you to listen and connect. You must be active in your community. You got to care about things. You must continue to grow professionally and personally. Oh, it's so frustrating. No, it's not, guys. Let me say this. This is not a bad thing. It's not, because you're capable of all of it. But you're going to have to adopt a growth mindset as a modern man. Are you going to fall short? This is just basic survival as a man in the modern era. You can't just cruise through life and wonder about aimlessly. You have to engage, and you have to have that growth mindset, or you're going to just fight the struggle bus all the way along. Number 7, you have to have a plan for a plan for a plan for a plan. We no longer live in the Old West. You can't just drift aimlessly, and the world has no more room for useless individuals. You have a North Star. We talked about that earlier. You know what's important, and you're seeking a purpose, right? We talked about it too. You need a plan to guide the growth mindset and to take care of your health to achieve those goals. More importantly, you need a backup plan for when the plan goes to shit. Then be able to pivot when that doesn't work out either, and ultimately have the fortitude to regroup, recover, and come up with a new plan. See, you have to have resilience to go with your plan, because guess what? It's not going to go right the first time or the second time or the third time. One of the best lines in the entire Harry Potter movie series is in the last book, or if you're in the movies, it's 7B, the second half of 7. And the 3 main characters are talking, and they come up with this really kind of rash idea. And they're like, no, we got to make a plan. Hermione, the sensible one, it's like, no, we got to make a plan. And Harry's like, when have any of our plans ever actually worked? We plan, we get there, all hell breaks loose. Well, that's more common than we want to admit a lot of times. We like to pretend all our plans go in order, but usually we're like on plan G, H, K. We're way down the line before anything actually works out. It's part of the learning curve for life. So you have to have a plan, but guys, you have to have resilience along with that, because your plan's going to be retooled, pivot, change, new plan, backup plan. Oh my goodness, what are we doing? You got to have the resilience for your plans. And so maybe that's a twofer. We'll call it that. Number 8, guys, you have to have emotional intelligence. Oh my goodness, Brent, you're asking too much now. I can hear the groans already. No, we're talking about emotion. No, okay. Modern men, in keeping with the changing demand and the way we live as people these days, must develop their EQ. All of your relationships demand it, right? We live in a quote unquote more sensitive society. Now, that's probably being a little harsh, but people talk about their feelings. People are more about their feelings. It's really weird, almost to, well, I will say people are more about their feelings to a detrimental level at this point. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to deal with your feelings, just can't let them be absurd. More importantly, having a good emotional intelligence will keep you from doing stupid things. While many of you know I believe in certain STOIC principles, including mastering your emotions and not letting your emotions control you, it does not change the fact that men have emotions and we need to get better at processing them in a healthy way. Prisons are full of men who let their emotions get the better of them and did not process them in a healthy way. In case I need to spell it out, burying your emotions is not processing them in a healthy way or at all. And doing that, burying those emotions, just sets you up for the possibility of a catastrophic failure in a key moment in your life. Burying those emotions just ends up with more prison population because we fly off the handle and do something stupid and punch the dude that desperately deserved it, but we know we're going to jail if we do. It's not worth screwing up the rest of your life because you didn't take the time to master your emotions, learn to process them in healthy ways, and keep moving forward. Men, we can't get by without it anymore. It's a requirement because we live in a litigious society that will not let us express certain emotions the way that some of us are prone to. So, emotional intelligence, guys, to be a man in this modern era, you have to master your emotions and get them under control. Now, we already touched on it a little bit, and I'm going to say number 9 is resilience, right? We touched on this just a little bit in number 7. My 6th grade wrestling coach may have taught me one of the most valuable lessons anybody has taught me in my life, and that's the lesson of resilience. Now, he had a particular way of addressing this. Every day in practice, we ran one drill alternating our starting positions. If you know about wrestling, there's 2 starting positions. There's the up position and the down position. No, we're not talking about WWE. We did takedown and escape drills for 10 minutes at a time. For 10 minutes, our practice partner hit us over and over again with takedowns and drove us into the mat over and over and over again. We had to break the takedown, escape, and immediately start over again in that up position or that down position, depending on which one it was. We would do this for 10 minutes and then we'd switch roles and we'd do it to our partner for 10 minutes that way. We learned to get up and escape no matter how beat down and exhausted we were. We did it over and over again every single day in practice. After we had already done 20 minutes of this, which is physically exhausting, we continued to train for stamina because after 10 minutes apiece, we ran for the next 15 minutes, only stopping to bust out push-ups, sit-ups, up downs, and then back to running. We're not talking a jog, guys. They ran us. Our team had one of the greatest records in our district because of this resilience training. There was no quit. You had to technically outscore us because you couldn't pin us, because our coaches drove this in 35 minutes solid, breaking us down to an exhaustive level that most people don't understand and making us get up over and over and over again. Life will drive you to the ground mercilessly over and over again. As Rocky said, it's how you get up and press on that defines you. Not the exact quote. Sorry, I should have dropped the Rocky voice, but I'm like, hey, that's how hard you get hit and get back up. It's a horrible Rocky impersonation. I hope Sly doesn't hear that one. But guys, resilience is critical. And you build resilience by doing hard things. It's not fun things, not exciting things. You build resilience by doing hard things. So challenge yourself and build that resilience, because you will not survive as a man without it. Now, number 10 is perhaps one of the most important, and that is discipline. And man is nothing without this 4-letter word. Yes, I know it doesn't actually have 4 letters, but it's a 4-letter word for some of us. This separates the men from the boys. This defines success and failure. I've done full episodes on discipline because discipline is that incredibly important. Discipline's hard. I'm not going to lie, but it makes a man great. Discipline is critical to make all the rest of this work. Without discipline, your life falls apart. Without discipline, these other 9 things will not function in your life. Now, some of you more astute listeners may have realized or noticed that I have not said, even once in this entire list, anything about biology or social constructs or how someone identifies. If you're confused about the biological science required for this discussion, you're probably in the wrong place. And I'll leave that at that. Navigating what it means to be a man in today's world requires both timeless values and modern challenges. Looking back at famous figures who once represented the very essence of masculinity, we see that being a man has meant slightly different things throughout different times. From the bravery of World War II soldiers to the expectations of today's society, masculinity goes beyond stereotypes. It involves finding our personal goals, standing up for what matters to us, taking care of our health, farming our purpose. It also means surrounding ourselves with a more supportive tribe and adapting to changes and learning to bounce back even when times get tough. So here's to embracing the many sides of being a modern masculine man and exploring these ideas further here on the Fallible Man Podcast. Now be sure and check out this episode. If you're listening, I've got it down in the show notes. The next episode that will be great to continue this discussion. And if you're on YouTube, it's right up here in the corner. Be sure and check on it for more information on this topic as we explore this a little further. Thanks for joining us on this episode, and be better tomorrow because what you do today, and we'll see you on the next one.
This has been the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for everything man, husband, and father. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a show. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com for more content and get your own Fallible Man gear.